Hey guys, it's Haylie Pomroy here, and I love to talk to you about a lot of different subjects, things that, maybe have affected my life and my health. I share a lot of stories about clients that I've had just the fortune to see and walk with them on their journey. And today I have an incredible guest that you are all going to absolutely fall in love with. We all have here in our community. And this is Megan. Megan is a certified fast metabolism coach. Most importantly, though, Megan is an individual that has walked the journey that so many of you are either right in the middle of, or you're starting, or maybe you're even out there thinking that you feel a little glimmer of hope and you can actually use food as medicine. You can actually fall in love with food. You can put power on your plate. And you can find people and a community and someone that can help you on your journey. So Megan, thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to have an amazing chat. But first and foremost, I want to say nice haul behind you. What the heck is that?
That's a little bit about what I'm using to pursue my health goals right now. Thanks so much for having me today, Haylie.
Absolutely. So Megan, you're one of our most favorite coaches. We love having you in the community, but I want our larger community, right, to get to know you. And so I have like a million questions. Actually, a lot of people in our community asked a million questions, but I want to start first with like your kind of professional background. You're a physical therapist, right?
I am, yes. For a long time now, I think 2.5 decades, something like that.
Oh, no way. Did you start at 12?
I did. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely. Me too. So you, like me, are kind of a lifelong learner. So you have a ton of different certifications. Take me through a couple of those.
Well, goodness. So I started out my journey in physical therapy and neurorehabilitation. And I love that. I loved working with stroke patients. It was like body, brain, mind, all together, exhausting and all encompassing and wonderful. And then I got time where I needed to be on a more routine schedule. So I switched to the outpatient setting where I worked in a clinic where if you had to see a physical therapist, that's where most people would find me. But that was a huge shift. And so I had to learn all the things. I became a certified manual therapist, a certified orthopedic manual therapist, a certified clinical instructor, because as you know, students are going to be the best way for you to continue your learning because they see things that you had forgotten you knew how to see now. And so there's a lot of letters there that kept me going for quite a while. And then I think it was probably in 2015, not too long after my youngest was born, that I left the clinical setting and started a concierge practice so that I could work my schedule around my 3 crazy, amazing, energetic little boys and our family needs. And so I've been doing that since.
So how old are the boys? How old are the boys now?
The boys are 13, 11, and 9, and they never stopped moving. Never.
So if anybody out there is thinking that there's not a way to do things with a crazy busy family, Megan has some of the best tips in our community. And I know, like, because I know you pretty well, Megan, and I know that the boys are such an inspiration for those tips. But they're so helpful. I mean, even though I'm an empty nester now, they're so helpful for all of us busy people that are moving through life, but really, really making an effort to change their health. So it was pretty organic for you, I would imagine, to incorporate nutrition into the physical therapy space. Like, how did that come about?
So actually, in Washington, I'm not allowed to incorporate physical or nutrition into the physical therapy space, which is tragic for so many reasons. But what really led me to this newfound passion for nutrition was my own health.
Okay.
Was being in a medical profession for so long and being really shocked by how hard it was for me to get the care that I needed to keep my vitality, right? It was slipping through my fingers so quickly as my body just didn't know what to do with pregnancy and motherhood, and it just didn't know how to rebound. And so doctor after doctor would tell me, "Oh, you're fine." And I was like, "I'm clearly not fine." I'm clearly not. And so, that's how I found you. Was actually one of my colleagues at the time was also my physical therapist, had mentioned that she had learned about you.
I know. I did not know that.
And love. Yeah.
Well,
love.
It's mutual. And Megan, as a coach, we've watched you take kind of, what you've gone through and help so many other people. And you and I have talked a lot, and I think we share this, and I'm so glad people are talking about it more, but just trying to get help and be fairly savvy, right? I feel sorry for individuals that maybe don't have a science background even, and being your symptoms or how you're feeling or what's going on in your body being rejected. So how would you talk to people out there that find themselves in a similar situation? I just want to share with you, I still get very angry, and I try really hard. I get angry on behalf of my clients. And then sometimes I get really sad at the nature of the lack of nutrition at the forefront of medicine and the lack of believing. That's why I say, we believe you. Like, we believe you. First and foremost, you don't have to convince me. I believe you. Your reality is yours. What do you say to your people that you're coaching? What do you say to people that are coming to our community that are feeling like they've had a similar situation?
Well, I think the first thing that's so important is just kind of what you said, validating their experience, right? Because after so many people tell you you're fine, you really start to think you're crazy. And it's like, is this really all in my head? Like, am I losing it? And so I think validating that their experience is real and there's a reason for it. And it's not something we have to sweep under the rug. It's something that we want to get curious about and dig into. And so once you validate, I think it brings a lot of walls down. I can't tell you how many doctor's appointments I walked out of in tears, just feeling so hopeless because I didn't know what step to take. I knew steps needed to happen, but I didn't know what steps needed to take.
Right.
And I mean, there were a lot of them that tried their best for a long time, and then they would just kind of shrug their shoulders at me and send me on my way again. And so I think like one of the most important things is to give people a belief in the process, right? That was my journey when I found the FMD. There were a lot of things that changed for me. I could sleep again when I couldn't before. My brain fog and my word finding skills started to repair. My irritability and reactivity like calmed way down. And I'm still working on becoming responsive instead of reactive, but it was huge. And to feel like I was starting to get my brain back again was pretty significant. And so reminding people that these may be little steps and it may feel tedious and it may feel exhausting, but 1, I believe you. 2, I'm here with you. And 3, we're going to keep working until we unlock that door that needs to be unlocked.
And I will tell everybody, you're extremely tenacious. It makes it so fun for me because for so many years, I felt like I was alone. I mean, people talk about, I've been doing this a long time. It'll be 30 years this May. And I mean, I felt like I used to kick down doors. If you can find practitioners, right, that are at least willing to try, you're so lucky. And there's this term that a lot of people are using, I've seen recently, about being gaslit, medical gaslighting, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I literally, and I have a diagnosable autoimmune disorder, right? I was on I oscillated between 60 and 80 milligrams of prednisone every day. And I had a doctor literally tell me that he felt sorry for me because I couldn't afford to take a vacation that would make it all better. And I was like, I'll sell everything, my bed, my couch, my dog, my horses, whatever. If you're telling me going on a vacation is going to cure my autoimmune disorder, I will never forget. I would get these, before I was able to heal my body, I would get these massive lymph nodes. And I swear to you, this one, like, I'm getting a little flustered. It just broke my heart. I was seeing a physician, it was a male physician, and he went to check my lymph nodes under my armpit. And he literally went, get you. I like to this day, I'm so mad at myself that I didn't have the cojones or the courage to like deck him. I mean, I'm sitting there like I was in my 20s and I was scared to death and I was trying to figure things out. So I felt for a long time like I was alone on the journey and kicking the doors down. And it's one of the reasons why if I didn't do anything else, coaching was going to be important to me because people need this and they need this desperately. And there's things that just stick in my head. And I still, a lot of us, and I don't know if you ever feel this way, Megan, that have autoimmune disorders, we live a little bit in the fear of the flare, right? Like this could go a little side.
Yeah, absolutely. Like what I'm going to do today, am I going to pay for it tomorrow?
Right.
Like, and it's a constant mental drain, right? Like having to be so meticulous and so careful. And so if we can give people a little bit of margin back, they can let go of that fear just a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, I love what you just said about giving people margin back. And I watch you with a lot of your clients working past the point of out of crisis and into really strong restorative. The fact that you just said that is, I've always wondered if it was your physical therapy background.
I think it might be, right? Because when 99% of the time people come to a physical therapist because they hurt.
Right.
What we have to teach them is we're going to help you get out of your hurt. But once you're out of your hurt, that's not the end of the story. We have to make sure the hurt doesn't come back. And I think it's that same philosophy when you're looking at nutrition coaching is, yes, we want the weight to go away, but we want it to stay away.
Right.
Or we want to get you sleeping again, and we want you to sleep well for the rest of your life, not just a short period of time. Whatever it is that your goal is, we want to achieve it, and then we want to cement it.
And not teach tricks like fad diets, right? That get weight off, but don't heal the why. I mean, I just saw an individual that came in, they lost 37 pounds. I'm like, that's cool. Their labs were atrocious. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was heartbroken because I thought, oh my gosh, like at the sake of the client's body, that's crazy. So we, in our advanced clinicals, you had a client the other day and we've been watching this client for 30 days and you had just shocking change in the labs through nutrition. Without sharing the client in particular, do you want to share a little bit about, how you use those as a marker? So the people that are listening, right? Like we talk a lot about, we'll help you guys do requests for cares, how to ask your doc for labs, so what the labs mean, how to set, protocols for progress. Our coaches do this. And Megan, you're amazing at it. But we had results in a lab over 30 days. But there's not a medication in the world that could have done that. So I see you smiling. Like, how did that
was pretty exciting. It's pretty so also as a physical therapist, I like objective measures, right? Like that's how I prove what I'm doing is effective. And so seeing those objective measures that the body is responding to what you're prescribing and what you're recommending in a way that is only going to mean good things is super exciting. So that particular client had not had very extensive blood work done. And so when we looked at the symptoms that he was experiencing and we made some recommendations or some inquiries to the doctor, would it be okay if we looked at these things to see what we're dealing with? We got a whole lot of information back, and which is good. But in this case, it was a little bit scary because it potentially indicated some really significant at risk for scary medical things. So when we could so quickly, and I'm not going to say effortlessly, because
you put a lot of work in. It takes work.
Yeah,
right.
It does take work, but there weren't all these medications that we heaped on that had side effects that we needed to treat the side effects and everything like that. To see his chemistry change so dramatically is really exciting.
And it shows, like, to me, the power of having a coach. So I share with you guys all the time. I've used a coach for 25 years, twice a month, every month. A little bit of holiday here or there. I don't not use a coach, and I'll share kind of personally why I do that. I'm busy. Did I mention that a lot? Sorry, guys. My health is critically valuable to me. I have a lot of wants and desires. I want to feel good and I want to do a lot of things and I want to be there for my kids and grandkids someday. But I think most importantly is I need help, right? Thriving and staying in the space where I can do all these things. And so I was reluctant because I'm a stubborn girl and I don't follow rules ever. I'm so bad. But it was a NFL player that was a client of mine. And I had been in practice for a little bit, and I've been rogue, right? Like I opened my own IV suite because I couldn't get the IVs I needed. I begged, borrowed, and, got docs as buddies and friends to run labs that nobody even knew that were only out of the country. I mean, I was gritty. There's no doubt about that. But I had a client, it was one of my NFL players, and he was like, Haylie, anybody that's successful has a coach. Mm-hmm. Everybody that's successful has a coach. In fact, if you want to be at the top of your game, you have a good coach. And I was like, okay. So I know. It doesn't take very long with me. So Megan, like, what kinds of, I know that you are really good about, organization and tips, but what kind of clients fuel your passion?
Mm-hmm. That is such a great question. Because I think what you all just mentioned is what led me to the coaching program. Like, I needed more to be successful in unraveling my health journey. And so right now, everybody's really exciting. Like, the client that had eaten healthy her whole life, especially as far as American diet goes, like health food was cool for her before it was cool for the country. She's in her early 70s. She had held on to this 25, 30 pounds, couldn't get rid of it. And for probably a decade, could not get her cholesterol under control. And in a few weeks, just a few strategic tweaks with FMD, and she's dropping weight like crazy. Her doctor is thrilled. And within 6 months, she's off her cholesterol medicine. And so
I have chills.
I love, I know, right? So the newbies that feel like I'm doing all the right things, why is this not working, is super exciting to unlock this gift to them that they really do have the power to make these changes. So that's super exciting. And then the flip side is I find that some really complicated people find their way to me. And even if we're just taking tiny little steps at a time to keep them engaged and keep them understanding that they can make changes, even when it feels exhausting, even when it feels impossible, it's one little decision at a time to get to that goal. I think that whole spectrum is exciting to work with.
It is exciting. And Megan, how do people get a hold of you?
So as a busy, crazy mom, really the best way is to text me. So 206-915-5994. I'm going to interrupt you though. You guys, do not take advantage of the fact that Megan just gave you her cell phone number. Megan, okay, you may only text Megan these things. May I please get on your schedule? May I please get on your schedule this week? And do you have any openings this week? Please, Megan, may I please get on your schedule? Do not text Megan a ton of questions, guys. It is taking advantage of her generosity. Let me just tell you, Megan is a phenomenal coach. She can get your bahookie in the right direction fast. The most non-judgmental, hype woman you will find, which is great. We share the commonality that I have dyslexia, and I know you have a child with dyslexia. And so we talk a lot about being really accepting about how people process information and meeting them right where they're at. Yeah. So please don't use that cell phone number to send pictures. Is this a sweet potato or is this a Japanese yam? Do not do that, you guys. Do not do that at the grocery store. You must be a client to do that. I always say, my phone, when somebody else gets access to my phone and they see what my clients text me, they're just like, oh, what are they thinking? And I go, I don't know, So anyway, it's a fun, and I would say privilege place to be a coach, right? Yes, right. To enter into someone's walk with them is definitely an honor.
Yeah, it is. And it's crazy at times. So Megan, I'm going to let you, and I can't believe I'm going to do this, give your cell phone number one more time. And then you guys genuinely, we have, millions of listeners. We've sold millions of copies of books. We're in 47 languages. Megan, give your cell phone number one more time. And then please tell me, do you do hour visits? Go ahead and give your number. I don't know what to tell you, but go.
206-915-5994.
Okay, text
her me because my voicemail is always full.
Okay, so text Megan one of the three things. I want to make an appointment with you. I want to make an appointment with you this week. May I please make an appointment with you this week? That's it, guys. That is it. No Japanese yams. I like kumquats. What phase do those on? Kind of pomegranates on phase 3. What about the cleanse? Okay, let me ask you this. When you see clients, are they only people that are in Seattle in your area? Are you like me? Do you do Zoom, phone calls, things like that?
Yeah, I'm pretty flexible. That was another thing that drew me to the coaching package. As a PT, during the pandemic, it was a lot harder for me to work remote than a number of occupations. And also as my children grow and explore, I want to be able to do this from wherever I am. So Zoom, phone calls, texts, email, whatever we have to do to get the job done, we'll do. The majority of my clients right now are one-on-one visits. Just because it gives us the opportunity to really dig into their individual needs. In the beginning of the new year, I think I'm going to start running some group classes so it's easier to introduce people to the basic principles, and that'll help us get our bathing suit bodies all ready to go for the cruise in February. That'll be really important. But yeah, so most of what I do right now is individual sessions.
That's awesome. I have a client that I saw for many years, and she would commute from the Valley into Beverly Hills for work. And I was her Monday morning phone call. And she would, curse traffic and be frustrated. But by the time she landed in her office, I would have a grocery list for her. I would have recipes for her. I would have her meal map done. And she never had to come and come to the office. And it's really neat. I got to see her through pregnancies and post, pregnancy. And I just it was just a really special time when I did the coaches training. I talked to you guys about this client. It was a really special time. We never, ever, ever have seen each other physically in person, which is interesting. And it's been years. The other thing, and I don't think we've ever even Zoomed. Isn't that interesting? It's always phone.
Well, yeah, just because that gives them the opportunity to do that brain dump, right? Because our brains are so busy holding all this information. And if they can just give it to us and then we can take and work the magic for them, that's such a gift.
It is. It is. That's awesome. Talking about the cruise, I also had a client that I did for years remotely that I never met until she came on our cruise. And that was kind of fun. I was like, oh my gosh, she sent me pictures. Because she had a lot of weight that she couldn't get moved. And she had, she had done HCG diet and keto diet and fasting and some other crazy thing and could not get weight to move, 5 pounds up, down, actually about 15 pounds up, down. And then we started working together, and she sent me the cutest picture of her at the finish line of, I actually have it. I was sent it to her. So I have like me and Cher and me and J-Lo and John Travolta, me and John and Rocket Ishmael and, all my NFL, Kelly Stouffer, like a bunch of people. And she's in the middle. But the thing with me is and I know that you talk about this a lot in your coaching, she was this person that had genuinely done everything. Mm-hmm. She brought to the table diets that I had never heard of in my life. The liquid 500 calorie, I think it was one of the medical school diets. Mm-hmm. And I remember the horror when I told her to go get raw pistachios and we were talking about sunflower mayonnaise and mangoes. I mean, the biggest victory for me with her was the healing of the relationship with food. Can you talk to me a little bit about personal things, like personal discoveries in your own journey around healing that relationship?
Yeah. I feel like that was one of the things that drew me to your programs to begin with. I kind of love that you were on a journey for animal science first, because I think that gave you this foundation of why would we deprive our bodies of the things they most need? This is not how we're supposed to do it. We need to nourish and give and supplement. And so when I read your book, I was like, this makes so much sense to me. Like, I'm never happy when I'm eating less and working out more, right?
Right.
Like, if eating less and working out more worked, there would be nothing left of me. Nothing. Right?
I would blow away in the wind.
Right? Yeah. And still to this day, people, like one doctor was like, oh, well, when you hit 40, you put on, your metabolism slows down. And I was like, yeah, we're not talking about 70 pounds overnight. That's not normal. Like, don't tell me it's because I just turned 40.
Right.
Like 3 months ago, look at
hell,
like,
what the hell? Yeah.
Like, what happened overnight? And so I think that, again, as a medical practitioner, it just makes sense that we would give the body what it needs to accomplish what it needs to do. It doesn't make sense to me to take things away. My willpower is challenged so much more. And this is not a willpower game, right? Like that's not what it's
not a willpower game.
So it's not seeking all the things. If it stops seeking all the things, it's going to do what it needs to do.
I just want to punctuate that. Those of you that are listening, because every time I get chills, it's because it moves me, right? And it speaks to kind of the struggles probably that I went through in the times when I just felt so alone in being so sick. I always say I can smell that hospital room. I can feel the buttons on the back of the hospital gown. Like it's so vivid for me. But you just said something that just like this is not a willpower game, guys. This is not a willpower game. We are the only species on the planet that has bought some ridiculous story that makes you think that if you do less for your body, you're somehow going to get more out of it, or you don't deserve to eat, or you win. I always tell you that story about I was at my daughter's rodeo, and there were a bunch of girls that were 17 and 18 years old. And this mom and her daughter's cell phone started bing, 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 bing. And they were running to their phone, and they had gotten these tokens, And I'm like, oh, cool. What are you getting tokens for? And it was how many hours they had not eaten, how long they had fasted. You wouldn't do that to your dog or an animal in the zoo or a horse or the soil. And so we've been all sold this crazy, crazy notion. So I just wanted to punctuate that, Megan, because I watch you with your clients, take them through the process of learning how to feed their metabolism back on fire. Yeah. And that's really cool for me to watch.
I think the other thing that's really important too is we've also been sold this line that all of these symptoms that we're having as women are normal. And they're not normal, they're common. And just because they're common doesn't mean they're normal, and doesn't mean we have to put up with them, and doesn't mean we have to adjust our lives accordingly. There's more for us out there.
So I don't know if you can see all the goosebumps on my arms right now, but when I'm sorry, I'm just like kerflumped today. It's you guys, it's not normal, they're common. Yeah. I'm afraid right now with how our medical world is going that it's like becoming normal to have breast cancer. It's becoming normal to have ovarian cancer. It's becoming normal for menopausal women to lose all their hair and get a mustache. Yeah. It's not normal just because it's common, Megan. That I love that you said that. Just because it's common, it's not normal. So, okay, I am an advocate for coaching for myself. I am an advocate for coaching for individuals that are out there that want to heal their metabolism, that want to learn about their bodies, that want to learn how to have a healthy relationship with food, put power on your plate, and evoke badass clinical results. Like, that's the thing. It's like, I'm not. And that's how I think you and I get along. We're touchy-feely in what we've been through in our struggle and with our babies and the love for our families. But look, this is something, and in our community, we see it. And in our clients, we see it. It is something that motivates us every day, is that we get crazy, almost shocking sometimes. Like sometimes I'm like, how did that happen? And everybody's like, well, you didn't do it long enough. What do you mean? I'm like, I don't know, but quick, let's take the number and run. How did that happen? But we have phenomenal results. So Megan, when someone coaches with you and someone wants to coach with you and they're going to text you, and I said the only thing they can text, do you help them go through their household, their diet, their lifestyle, their days? Like what, given a person out here that's going, I need to coach with Megan, what should I expect? Are they going to get like a list of like, don't eat this and don't eat that, or what's going to happen?
So the first thing is I'm going to find out where they are on this journey, right? Some people have tried all of the things. There's no chemicals in their house already, so we don't have to worry about that. They're eating all organic. But some people are on the other end where soda and chips is a daily staple, right? And so I'm going to do a lot of investigating to find out what are your common practices? Where are you? And then I'm going to find out what they want. Like, what do you want to achieve?
And then you're going to go bigger. Right. And then you're going to go bigger. Yeah. That's what we always do, you guys. We get, someone says like, I want to, be able to maybe do the bunny slopes again. And we're like, black diamonds. I don't know why. You and I have this like belief, which is so good. I call it naivety in my brain. I missed something that says you can't, right? But we want big for you. We push you to dream big because it can be a reality. It's a reality that we see all the time. Like you just talked about your client that was in her 70s, right? Like, yeah. Okay. So
then we're just going to reverse engineer, right? We're going to, I also need to know about like their capacity and ability, right? Because as a busy mom, if somebody had laid out like 80 things that I needed to do, I would have stopped right there.
Right.
I would have been overwhelmed and it would have been like, oh, now is not the time for this. So do you have the capacity to go 100 miles an hour or do you have the capacity to go 10 miles an hour? And we're going to go whatever speed you've got. And then my job is to just set the expectations appropriately, right? If we're going to go 10 miles an hour, we're going to get there. It might just take us a little while. And maybe we only go 10 miles an hour for a little while until some of that capacity starts to come and that familiarity and routine starts to come. And then we can speed up a little bit as we go.
I always think about
tailored to where they are.
Yeah. And that's like you said, it's very concierge for individuals that see you, which I love. That's why I send you a lot of people. So thank you, by the way. And I don't give them your cell phone number. I don't know what you're thinking. Okay. So you said something that just struck a chord, and that was kind of the speed at which people do things. Everybody's on their own journey. Everybody's on their own pace. 2 stories I want to share with you. One was I had a gentleman that came in that smoked like a good pack a day. And he was like, I know. The first thing you're going to do, Haylie, is take away my cigarettes from me. Everybody's tried. I've tried hypnosis and acupuncture and, cold turkey and the dumb and the patch and the, Indian chief, all of the above I've tried. I'm like, I'm not going to take your cigarettes away from you. Let's start. You're so depleted. Let's start getting you infused. Let's start feeding you. So that your body, because he had obviously an addiction and a demand and a need, and it had changed his entire neurochemistry to be dependent on nicotine, right? What am I going to say? Stop it? No. And it was so interesting because they started to infuse. I put him in the cleanse. We started doing all these different things. And then one day he was like, well, why aren't you, on me about cigarettes? And I said, well, why don't we change, let's at least go American spirits, right? Let's go with something a little less toxic, a little less poisonous. Let's play with that a little bit. You still get the nicotine hit. Let's feed these neurotransmitters. Let's work on the things that are causing depression and cravings and that tired and wired, And then he's like, the other day I left half a pack of cigarettes at a friend's house and I didn't get a new pack until the next day. And I said, oh, well, that's cool. That's pretty cool. He doesn't smoke. And what's so funny now, he goes to Air One, we have this amazing health food store here. And he brings he's like a health nerd nut, not even a health nut. He's like a health nerd nut. And he was my pack a day smoker. And that's, I think, all of our coaches, but I think meeting people where they're at. And then the other, I shared with you the other day, we were talking to this client that has lost over 100 pounds. Did not lose. 2, 3 up, down, did not lose weight until a year of working with me. And she came every single week. We did a phone consult over Thanksgiving. I'm like, yeah, I'm off that week. And she's like, no, we need to be on the phone. How I know how she had more. I faked it. Honestly, on some days where I'm like, we can do this. Cause there were times where I'm like, what are we going to do? She had Hashimoto's autoimmune disorder, right? Her thyroid wasn't balanced correctly. She had depleted the body so much. The immune system was so reactive. We've all celebrated her. She's lost over 100 pounds now. But it was like you said, that reverse engineering that you're very crafty at. It took me a lot longer. I'm a little bit more like kick the front door down. You're very methodical.
Well, and I think that goes to our journeys too, right? You started when you were young.
Right.
And I mean, it was imperative that you make these changes, but you had you to take care of, right?
Right.
Well, we're finding a lot of people who are entering the journey when they have more than themselves to take care of, right? So like all of my mom friends are like, it's wine o'clock. You can't take that away from me. And I'm like, okay, let's not take that away, right? Let's keep wine o'clock until we're ready to not need wine o'clock anymore. And I think that's what is so important about having a coach, right?
Right.
Because these are fantastic principles and you may be 100% successful just applying the principles. But what happens if the principles don't do what you're hearing they do for everybody else? It doesn't mean they don't work. It just means we have to find that really unique thing to you.
That's right. And I love that. So Megan, one last time, I'm going to let you give everybody your cell phone number and I'm going to love you through your craziness because, but you guys, seriously, in our community, and I mean this with all my heart, when you're ready to make an appointment with Megan, please go ahead and text her. I could not encourage you to do it more strongly. It is critical that you heal your metabolism, that you put power on your plate, that you learn how to feed your body and nourish your body and make peace with food and get killer results in the process. I mean, I want them to do that. So I genuinely do want them to reach out to your cell phone, Megan. So give that one more time.
So please text me. I would love to be part of your journey. My number is 206-915-5994.
Awesome. And Megan, thank you so much. I like I said, I love your haul behind there. It looks like my pantry right now. I'd love to have you back on. I want to talk a little bit more about kind of your autoimmune journey. I know there's so many people, women right now, that the rate of diagnosis has like 300x. I was just reading this crazy article.
Yeah.
And you know, it makes some sense to me because we're in such a toxic environment right now. The immune system's in such an inflammatory state. You know, we're having a hard time processing it. But there's a lot that goes on with hormones. And I think after having kids and stuff too. Yeah.
Well, and I think finally women are being more empowered to be pushy about their health.
Isn't that terrible that we have to say pushy? Right.
Yeah. And get answers.
Right.
Yeah. And it's invisible. So it's hard for people to understand what you're experiencing. When you tell someone you're not well and they look at you and you're like, you look totally fine.
Yeah, exactly. Get you. Yeah. That was a fun one. One of these days, I don't know. If I stop being sassy, I don't, maybe that means I've retired. I don't know, guys. But I just want everybody out there to know, like, we're here for you. We believe you. We can help you. We have all kinds of tools and tricks and tips. And a lot of that comes from, you know, making some of the mistakes ourselves, but also really holding tight onto the things that have worked for us. And so, you know, Megan, I know we share a lot in commonality in that journey. And it's just so fun to have you with me. It's just been such a blessing and a joy. And everybody that sees you is just so fortunate. And so unless you're a client, you may not send pictures trying to decide what's a sweet potato, what's a Japanese yam. I just keep saying that because I got that on my phone last night. I was like, oh, that's funny. But it's a client that I adore. So there you go. And we are working on hormone stuff. So I really needed her to have a sweet potato. She's doing great. So, all right, Megan, we will talk soon. I will see you soon. And just thanks for doing this on behalf of all the people.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah. And on behalf of all the people that you're helping today and that you will help tomorrow, I genuinely thank you. I would have been so fortunate and I would have gotten there so much faster had I had someone like you. So I really appreciate
and thank you for the generosity with your wisdom and your time to train us all up to be the army that the people need to help them.
Thanks. That's awesome. Ooh, I got chills. All right, guys. Talk soon. Text Megan wisely. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.